The hall of the Galactic Council was quiet. Every alien leader from across the galaxy had gathered. The great circular chamber was filled with different shapes and colors, tall, insect-like beings, glowing energy forms, and creatures made of stone and light. But one species was missing: humans. They stood outside the chamber behind force fields, watched by guards. Their faces were cold. Their eyes showed no fear. Inside the chamber, the council prepared for judgment. "We gave humans a place in this galaxy," said High Lord Jurek, leader of the Varn Dominion. "And what did they do? Build weapons? Cause wars? Refuse to follow peace laws?" Many nodded. "They broke bio-rules," added Lady Thyr from the Water Clans. "They changed their own DNA, made soldiers that felt no pain. They even touched dark energy," hissed a shadowy creature from the Void Worlds. "That is forbidden." The council agreed. The humans had grown too fast. They were clever, too clever. In just 200 years, they went from a weak species to a power that threatened the old ways. The council had warned them, sent messages, tried peace. But the humans kept growing. So now, they would be stopped. The judgment. The doors opened. A group of humans walked in slowly. Their leader, Commander Elias Stone, stepped forward. His gray uniform was dirty from travel. His eyes were sharp and his voice calm. "Speak your sentence," he said. "You are not welcome in this galaxy anymore," said Jurek. "We are still part of it," Stone replied. "Whether you like it or not." "You were warned," said Lady Thyr, "but you chose violence." "You chose fear," Stone replied. "You feared what we might become." A silence followed. Then the final judgment was spoken. "You are hereby exiled," said Jurek. "All human colonies will be destroyed. Your people will be sent to a planet where no one has ever survived, Zerion 5. Gasps echoed around the chamber. Even some council members looked uneasy. Zerion 5 was a Class 0 death world, the worst kind. No water, no safety, storms that melted, ships. Creatures that hunted with sound and shadow. No species had ever survived more than a week. Stone did not flinch. "So be it," he said. He turned and walked away. Behind him, the other humans followed. Not one of them looked back. The journey begins. The exile ships were old, not built for long travel, not made for war. Each one held 100,000 humans, soldiers, scientists, engineers, farmers, no weapons, no shields. Only basic supplies. The council gave them just enough to reach the planet. They wanted the humans to suffer first. The journey took 3 weeks. During that time, humans prepared in silence. No one cried. No one gave up. Instead, they studied maps, trained children, checked tools, and recorded every piece of knowledge they had. Commander Stone sent one last message to Earth. "We are not dead yet. If this is our end, let it be a warning. But if we survive, you will hear from us again." The message was never delivered. Arrival on Zerion 5. The ships entered orbit. Zerion 5 was red and black, covered in clouds that moved like waves. Thunderstorms cracked open the sky. Strange shapes flew below the clouds, fast and huge. As the landing began, 3 ships were lost. One burned in the sky, one was crushed by wind, one vanished without a trace. But the rest made it. The humans landed in different zones, mountains, deserts, forests that glowed in the dark. Every zone was deadly. The first hours were chaos. The air was thin. The gravity was strange. In one zone, the ground opened and swallowed a farm unit whole. In another, a creature made of glass and bone tore through the sleeping tents. But the humans fought back. They built shelters fast, using smart metal that changed shape. They made fire from dust. They hunted with drones. They created warning systems. And most of all, they learned. Every hour, the planet threw something new at them, but humans adapted faster. The Council watches on the Galactic Council Station, AEE. Hidden screens showed live feeds from spy satellites. The alien leaders watched, waiting for the screams, the begging, the signs of collapse. But that didn't happen. They lost 30% in the first week, said an officer. But the rest are surviving. That is impossible, said Jurek. No species has ever lasted more than 6 days there, said Lady Thur. They are not just surviving, said another. They are building, organizing, recording everything. Kill the satellites, someone said. Do not let them know we are watching. But it was too late. The humans had already found one of the hidden probes and sent back a message. Nice try. We're still here. The new rules in. The second month, something strange began to happen. A team of scouts entered a cave to hide from a storm. Inside, they found something glowing on the walls. Symbols, machines, and bones. Old bones, alien bones. Some matched no known species. At the center of the cave, there was a strange object. It pulsed with light. When they touched it, a wave of energy passed through them. 3 days later, those same scouts were different. Their eyes were sharper. Their skin could handle acid rain. They didn't get tired. They said they could feel the planet breathing. Commander Stone ordered tests. The planet wasn't just killing them, it was changing them. Xerion 5 was not a normal planet. It did not stay quiet. It did not rest. Every hour brought something new, something dangerous, something deadly. The humans were not just fighting to survive, they were fighting against the planet itself. Deadly mornings. The sun on Xerion 5 was not yellow. It was a deep red, like blood. Every morning it rose through thick clouds and cast shadows across the strange forests. Commander Elias Stone stood on a rocky hill, scanning the land below. In Zone 3, the people were building a new base. Yesterday, Zone 4 was gone. A black mist rolled through it during the night. By morning, every building had melted. No bodies were found, only ashes and bones. It learns faster than we do, said Dr. Lena Holt, standing beside him. Stone nodded. Then, we adapt faster. He turned and walked down the hill. The planet didn't care about their courage, but the humans were starting to understand its rules. The screaming trees in one region, the trees were alive. Not in the way Earth trees lived, but with hunger. When a team of explorers walked through the forest, they heard whispers, then growls, then screams. The trees could mimic human voices. They copied cries for help, voices of lost loved ones, even words no one had spoken aloud. One man ran into the woods. He never came back. Another was pulled into a trunk, screaming. The next day, they burned that forest, but the ashes moved, and something under the soil watched them, the hunt from above. The sky was not safe either. There were flying creatures shaped like arrows with wings of metal and flesh. They hunted in packs. One scout ship from the humans tried to fly over the mountains. It never returned. Only pieces rained down. Commander Stone ordered no more flights. Instead, they sent crawling drones across the land. One of those drones disappeared in a canyon. But before the signal died, it sent back an image, a giant eye, buried in the rock, and it blinked. Raya's secret, meanwhile, the little girl named Raya, who opened the gate in the earth, was changing. She was only 12, but she no longer feared the storms. The wind did not push her. The cold did not bite her skin. She said she could hear the planet. Not in words, she told her mother. It's like music, but the music has meaning. She spent her days sitting by the gate, which now glowed with soft green light. Strange symbols danced across it. No one else could read them, but Raya said she understood. It's a story, she said, about something old, something forgotten, something sleeping. The Cave of Bones Commander Stone led a mission into the mountain cave where the first Strange object had been found. This time they went deeper. What they found was terrifying. The cave wasn't a natural tunnel. It was part of a buried machine, a massive network of walls, gears, and glowing lights. Some parts were alive, like muscle tissue. Others were metal, older than any known technology. And there were bones, thousands of them, alien skeletons. Some tall like towers, others flat like carpets. Many had armor fused into their skin. Some had claws, some had blades, and all of them were broken, killed, torn apart. Dr. Holt studied one skull and froze. "This species," she said. "I've seen it in council records. They called themselves the Ankari, a warrior race, wiped out over 10,000 years ago." Commander Stone looked around the cave. "They tried to control the planet," he said, "and failed." They walked deeper. At the heart of the cave was a black orb floating above the ground. When Dr. Holt touched it, her mind was filled with visions, war, fire, a voice that said one word over and over again: test. Message to the council back on the Galactic Council Station. Alarms were going off. A scientist rushed into Lord Jurek's chamber. "We lost another satellite," he said, "destroyed by a new energy field. It came from the humans." Jurek stared. "At the report. They should not have that kind of power." Lady Thur entered, holding a data pad. Her face was pale. "The planet is reacting," she said. "Not just changing weather. It's shifting in orbit, and something underground is waking up." "Send a scout ship," Jurek said. "See what they've done." "No," she whispered. "They sent us a message first." She pressed play. Human voice came through. It was Commander Elias Stone. "You thought this planet would kill us. You were wrong. It's making us stronger. If you come here again, come prepared." Then the message ended. The chamber fell silent. The change in the people in the following weeks, more humans began to change. Not like monsters, not like mutants, but like something more. Some could see in complete darkness. Others could smell metal. A few could even understand the whispers in the wind. Doctors tried to explain it with science, but nothing made sense. Even human-built machines started to act strange, reacting to thoughts, forming shapes not programmed. Some people were afraid, but others saw it as a gift. The planet wasn't killing them. It was testing them. And for the first time, humans were passing. A city in the storm with new abilities and new knowledge. Commander Stone gave a bold order. Build a city, not a camp, not a shelter. A real city, one that would last. They chose a high cliff as the location. Storms raged below, but the wind was calm above. The rock was strong, and the machines from the cave helped shape it. They called the city Vetra, which meant hope in Old Earth language. Buildings grew like crystals. Walls formed from living stone. Light came from floating orbs that responded to voice. Children laughed again. For the first time, humans felt safe. But the peace did not last. The first monster, it came at night. A loud screech shook the cliff. The sky turned black. Even though it was morning, a creature rose from the forest below, taller than any tree, with 6 arms and a body made of bones and smoke. Its face had no eyes, only teeth. It roared toward the city. Panic spread fast. People screamed, weapons fired, but nothing stopped it. Then Raya stepped forward. She stood at the edge of the cliff, her hands glowing faintly. The creature paused. It looked at her. Then it bowed and vanished into the dark. No one spoke for a long time. Commander Stone finally said, "We need to understand this planet before it understands us too well." The alien ships floated above Zarion 5 like silent ghosts. They did not fire. They did not speak. But they watched. And that was enough to make every human nervous. In the city of Vetra, people prepared for the worst. But the planet had other plans. Quiet change beneath the surface of Xerion 5, something had awakened. The earth pulsed with energy. The air felt heavier. The ground was warm, even at night, and the humans began to change. It started small. Faster healing, stronger muscles, sharper eyesight at night. But then, it became unnatural. A farmer lifted a steel crate alone, a crate 5 men once struggled to move. A medic touched a wounded soldier, and the wound closed within seconds. A little girl drew a shape in the dirt, and the nearby vines began to grow toward her. These were not tricks. These were mutations. The mutation file doctor. Lena Holt stood in her lab looking at test results with shaking hands. She had been studying 20 people who showed signs of change. All 20 had something strange in their DNA. A new strand, not human, not alien, something in between. The DNA didn't look added. It looked invited, like the planet had unlocked something already inside them. "It's as if the planet is rewriting us," she whispered. "But why?" Then she saw it. The mutation was not random. It was organized. It was building toward something. The whispering stones in the southern cliffs, a new cave opened after a quake. Soldiers entered and found stones with glowing lines. The walls hummed when touched. One soldier said he could hear voices. Another passed out and had a dream of fire, metal, and war. The next morning, he woke up with golden eyes. He said 2 words, before fainting again. "Battleborn." Commander Stone read the reports and frowned. "This planet is creating soldiers," he said. "But for what war?" Dr. Holt asked. No one had the answer. Yet. The alien response above, the alien scout ships, finally acted. They sent drones to the surface. One entered Vetra. It flew over homes, scanned people, and zoomed in on a group of children. Raya was among them. She looked at the drone with calm eyes and raised her hand. The drone stopped mid-air, then it spun wildly and crashed into a wall. The alien fleet sent a warning signal. "Cease all planetary. Interference or face-cleansing protocol," Commander Stone laughed. "They still think they're in control." He sent a message back. "Try us." Project Ember humans had no more trust in peace, not after exile, not after lies. So they started Project Ember, the building of weapons made from the planet itself. Blades shaped from living rock that cut through metal, armor grown from hardened vines, energy cells powered by the glowing veins deep underground. Scientists and warriors worked together. Every weapon was alive, and it responded only to human touch. Vetra was not just a city anymore. It was becoming a fortress. The rogue Council Ship 1 ship in the Council fleet refused to wait. It fired a plasma bomb at the planet. The bomb never landed. A dark shape rose. From the mountains, wings like shields, eyes like suns. It swallowed the bomb in mid-air. Then it roared, and the ship vanished from the sky. No pieces, no sound, just gone. The other ships backed away, and a message was sent to the Council. "The bomb, humans are protected. We do not understand how. But this planet obeys them." The marked ones. Soon, a group of humans began to show strange marks on their skin. Glowing lines like tattoos, but always shifting. These were the marked ones. They could do things no human should do. Bend light to become invisible. Hear each other's thoughts. Control machines with a glance. At first, others feared them, but the marked ones protected the weak. They formed the first guard of Vetra, and people began to believe again, not just in survival, but in something greater. Humanity was not dying. It was evolving. The broken star far across the sky, a star exploded. The light reached Xerion 5 in waves of red and white. Raya stood at the edge of the cliff, watching. She smiled. "It's starting," she whispered. Her mother looked at her. "What?" Raya didn't answer, but her eyes glowed silver. "Commander Stone's decision." Commander Stone gathered the Council of Vetra, Leaders, scientists, soldiers. "We can't hide anymore," he said. "The Council will not stop watching, and one day they will attack." "What do we do?" asked a soldier. Stone looked at the floor plan of Vetra. "Build, train, mutate, evolve." He pointed to a ship design made from the living metal. "Soon we go back to space, not as exiles, not as humans, but as something new." Everyone agreed. It was time. Far away from the deadly skies of Xerion 5, the Galactic Council sat in silence. The room was cold. No one smiled. No one blinked. The Council had made a decision to exile humanity, but now they were no longer sure it was the right one. What they were seeing from their hidden satellites was terrifying. The humans were not dying. They were changing. Eyes in the sky, dozens of hidden satellites floated above Xerion 5. Some were shaped like rocks. Some were cloaked in invisibility. All of them were meant to watch in secret, but now their data made no sense. Human cities detected, one AI reported. Technology level. Unknown. Not Council design. Organic structure found in buildings. Another satellite sent back thermal images. Massive life forms surrounded the human city, not attacking, guarding, and then, one by one, the satellites began to go offline. Something was shutting them down, or eating them. Panic in the Council. Inside the Council chamber, leaders argued. "They were supposed to die in weeks," shouted Lady Thur. "They are building weapons," growled High Lord Jurek. "And I fear they are no longer human." A nervous scientist placed a new image on the screen. It showed Raya, the human child, standing at the center of a glowing city. "She commands the planet," he whispered. "She speaks to it." The Council chamber fell silent. Then a shadowy figure in the back finally spoke. "We have made a mistake. An emergency mission A decision was made. One ship, fast, silent. It would enter Xerion 5's orbit, scan closely, and return with a report. The crew, volunteers, all highly trained. They were told, "Get close, stay hidden, and come back alive." But they never returned. The ship entered orbit and vanished. No explosion, no signal, only silence. And then the humans sent a message. The human. Warning. The message came from Commander Elias Stone. His face was calm. Behind him, the city of Vetra glowed like a living machine. "You watch us like we are animals in a cage, but this planet is not a cage. It's a throne. We gave you warnings. We showed restraint, but if you come again, we won't stop what the planet does to you." Then the signal ended. The Council finally realized Xerion 5 no longer belonged to the galaxy. It now belonged to the humans. Inside Vetra, while the Council panicked, the people of Vetra were busy preparing. The rift in the sky had grown wider. Energy crackled across the clouds. Raya stood near it every day. She never looked afraid. "Something is coming," she said. "But not just enemies. Something older. Something that remembers us." Her words confused many, but Commander Stone trusted her. She had never been wrong. The Guardian awakens on the fourth night after the rift appeared. The ground near Vetra split open. From deep underground, a shape began to rise, a colossal guardian made of stone, root, and metal. Its body glowed with ancient power. Its head looked like a forgotten god. Its chest bore the human symbol for Earth. It did not attack. It bowed. To the humans. To Raya. And then it stood still, watching the skies. Waiting. Dr. Holt's discovery in. Her underground lab, Dr. Lena Holt was busy decoding the new DNA patterns found in the marked ones. She found a repeating signal, like a key. It matched the same signal from the floating black orb in the mountain cave. "It's all connected," she whispered. "The planet, the machines, the mutations. This isn't random, it's a plan. We're just part of it now." She ran simulations. If the evolution continued, humans would soon reach a point beyond biology. They would become something new. Not machines, not aliens, but a fusion of both. A higher form of life. Alien spies on the ground. Despite the risks, the Council sent a small team of spies to the surface. They wore cloaking suits, landed far from Vetra. But within hours, 2 were dead. One was taken by the trees, the other was absorbed into the mud. The last spy got close enough to Vetra to see something terrifying. Not just buildings, but humans training with powers, jumping impossible heights, throwing energy with their hands, controlling fire with thought. The spy tried to escape. He made it to the extraction point, but just before leaving, he looked up and saw Raya staring at him from miles away. Her eyes glowed. His suit failed. He screamed. Transmission ended. Council fractures. Back at the Council, everything was falling apart. Some species wanted to nuke the planet from orbit. Others wanted to make peace. Some wanted to study the humans, like dangerous wild animals. But no one agreed. For the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Council was divided. And humans hadn't even left their planet yet. Commander Stone's move in Vetra. Commander Stone met with his inner circle. "We are no longer prisoners," he said. "And this planet is no longer our exile." He pointed at a map. "It's time we build ships, but not to flee, not to run." He looked them in the eyes. "We're going back into space." The storm had passed, but the land of Karnos was still shaking. Elias stood at the edge of the dark canyon, his boots pressed against cracked rock. Behind him, the survivors from Earth waited, tired, wet, but alert. They had seen strange things in the last few days, but what lay below was something worse. "You're sure it moved?" Dr. Yelena asked, her voice low. Elias nodded. The ground didn't just shake. It breathed. They had come to the canyon looking for shelter from the storm. Instead, they found strange symbols carved deep into the stone. Some glowed faintly in the dark. Others felt alive. Hana, one of the scouts, pointed to a deep crack. "That wasn't here before. I swear it opened while we were watching." They dropped a flare into the crack. It disappeared for a long moment, then hit something wet. A strange, echoing growl followed. Everyone froze. "What was that?" Yelena whispered. "Something's down there," Elias said. "And I think it knows we're up here." That night, they posted guards. No one slept easy. At midnight, the ground near the canyon cracked again, this time louder. Like something pushing upward, a guard screamed. By the time Elias reached him, only blood remained. Tracks, long and sharp, led back to the canyon. "Wake everyone," Elias ordered. "We're moving, now!" The next day, they moved into the forest, leaving the canyon behind. But they weren't safe. Something followed them. At night, they heard scratching, heavy breathing, sometimes a whisper, almost like a voice speaking, in reverse. "Maybe it's a hallucination," Hana said, though her eyes were wide. "No," said Marcus, the ex-soldier. "This is a hunt. We're prey." That evening, they set traps around the new camp. Motion sensors, tripwires, even sharpened sticks. They were ready. At 2:13 a.m., every alarm went off. Screeches, inhuman and deep, came from all directions. The creatures were real, and they had come in numbers. Elias yelled, "Defensive circle!" The humans fought with what they had, basic rifles, fire, and their fists. The creatures moved fast, like shadows with teeth. They didn't die easily, but then Yelena fired a sonic weapon they had scavenged from the wrecked pod. The high-pitched wave burst across the clearing. The creatures screamed and fled, crawling back into the dark woods. Everyone stood in silence. Breathing heavy, bloody, shaken. "They bleed," Marcus said, wiping green liquid off his knife. That means we can kill them. The morning after, they studied the bodies of 2 dead creatures. Long claws, no eyes, skins hard like armor. "What are these?" Elias asked. Yelena replied, "They were underground. That's why we didn't see them. Karnos isn't just deadly on the surface, it's alive underneath." Hana nodded slowly. "And I think we woke it up. That afternoon, Yelena studied the ancient ruins nearby. She decoded more of the carvings and found a terrifying truth. These things, they weren't born here," she said. "They were buried here, long ago. Someone used this planet as a prison, not for us, for them." Elias felt his heart sink. "You're saying we were exiled to a world that was already a prison?" She nodded. "And something in our arrival triggered them. Later that day, they found a hidden tunnel beneath the ruins. It led deep underground. Warm air blew from it, and strange noises echoed up. Elias gathered a small team. "We need to go down there. We need to see what's coming." Yelena placed a hand on his shoulder. "Just promise me you'll come back." He didn't answer. Deep beneath the surface, the tunnels were alive with sound, clicking, growling, breathing. Elias and the team moved slowly, guns raised, lights shaking in the dark. They found a large chamber. In the center, a massive cocoon, bigger than any living creature they had seen. It pulsed, moved. A creature inside was about to hatch, and it was worse than anything they had faced. Elias whispered, "We weren't exiled here by accident. They sent us to die, or worse, awaken this thing." Suddenly the cocoon cracked, and everything went dark. The chamber shook as the cocoon cracked open. Elias stared, frozen. Behind him, the rest of the team backed away, weapons raised, fear in their eyes. The cocoon split down the center. A long claw slid out, sharp and dripping with dark green fluid. Then came another. A low, deep roar echoed through the tunnels, shaking dust from the ceiling. Something ancient was waking up. "This isn't just a creature," whispered Marcus. "It's something older, something that shouldn't exist." Suddenly, the lights on their suits flickered and died. Total darkness swallowed them. Only the sound of breathing remained, heavy, inhuman, getting closer. Outside the tunnel, on the surface, Yelena stared at the scanners. The underground heat signatures were changing, fast. They triggered something, she said. Hana looked over her shoulder. "Are they still alive?" I don't know." At that moment, a rumble shook the ground. Birds flew from the trees bent unnaturally. Then the earth cracked open. Black smoke rose from the hole. Everyone stepped back. "What did they find down there?" someone whispered. Yelena said nothing. She was already running toward the weapons crates. Underground, Elias and the others crawled away from the creature's birth chamber. The darkness felt alive. Then emergency lights kicked in, red and blinking. The creature was enormous, part insect, part machine, and part something else. It had no eyes but sensed them. It turned slowly toward Elias. Then it spoke, not with a mouth, but inside their minds. "You are not the jailers. You are not the builders. Why are you here?" The voice was cold, ancient, echoing inside their skulls. "We were sent here," Elias said. "We didn't choose this place. Your presence wakes the old hunger. Your blood calls to the others." And then it screamed, back on the surface. The canyon exploded in a blast of fire and smoke. A massive black shape rose from the ground, wings, claws, and glowing veins. It looked like a god of war. The humans watched in horror. The planet itself was changing. Trees wilted, water turned black. The air burned. Yelena shouted, "Everyone inside the shield dome! Now!" They had built the dome from old Earth tech. hoping to protect the colony from storms. Now, it might be their only defense. As the people rushed inside, Yelena turned to the sky. 3 smaller flying beasts appeared, circling the larger one. "This wasn't a prison," she whispered. "This was a tomb." Inside the tunnels, Elias and the surviving 2 members ran, chased by smaller creatures with razor limbs. The older one, the massive monster, did not follow. It had a mission: to rise, to spread, to destroy. As Elias reached the surface entrance, he looked back, and for a moment, just a second, he saw something that made his blood freeze. Inside the walls were more cocoons, dozens, hundreds. Later that night, Yelena patched Elias's bleeding arm. He sat in silence, staring at the fire. "They didn't just bury one creature," he said. "There's an entire hive." "How many?" "I don't know. But the biggest one, it's the queen." Everyone around the fire went quiet. "She spoke to us," Elias continued. "She knew we were outsiders. She said our blood woke them." Yelena's hands shook slightly. "You're saying the creatures are linked to us?" "No," Elias said slowly. "I think they were waiting for us." Suddenly, the night sky lit up with orange light. Something was falling from orbit. A ship? A pod? No, too many. 12 burning objects rained down, across the planet, hitting with massive shockwaves. Then, silence. No one spoke, until Hannah said, "I think someone else just arrived." Yelena's face went pale. "More prisoners?" Elias stood. "Or worse, someone sent to clean up the mess." 12 fireballs had fallen from the sky. Now smoke curled up from the forests and valleys across the planet. The air had changed. It was thicker, hotter. Even the wind felt angry. Elias stood at the edge of the shield dome, watching through binoculars. "They aren't rescue ships," he said. "They didn't land. They crashed on purpose." Yelena joined him. "Then who are they?" Elias lowered the binoculars. "I think they're from the council." Meanwhile, near one of the crash sites, the ground burned for miles. A giant black pod stood in the middle of the impact zone. It hissed, then opened. A tall, armored figure stepped out, not human. Its skin was like dark steel with sharp edges and glowing eyes. Behind it, more figures followed. All wore the same armor. All were silent. They looked around. Then one of them spoke in a cold, flat voice. "Subject 09E has awakened. Erase all. Remaining life." Back at the human colony, the shield dome shook. The scanners lit up. "Movement!" Hannah shouted. 12 targets incoming! Fast! Big energy readings!" Yelena grabbed her rifle. "Get every fighter to the gate! Load every weapon! We're not running!" Inside the colony, children cried. People panicked. But still, they prepared to fight. This was their home now, and they had already survived worse than this planet, or so they thought. In the forest nearby, Elias led a small scout team toward the nearest crash site. They moved quietly, carefully, but the closer they got, the more they saw. Trees burned. Animals lay dead. Even the ground seemed poisoned. Then they saw it, one of the armored strangers. It was dragging something behind it. A body. Human. Dead. Elias whispered, "They're not here to help. They're here to clean up the mess the council made." Another scout spoke. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means this planet was a test, a secret weapon, and we were the trigger." Suddenly, a buzzing sound filled the air. The armored, being turned toward them. It had no eyes, no mouth, but it had sensed them. "Run!" Elias yelled. Blaster fire rained through the trees. Red lights cut the night. Trees exploded behind them as they ran. 2 scouts were hit. Screams followed. Elias grabbed one and pulled him behind a rock. "They're not just hunters," Elias said, out of breath. "They're erasers. Anything that sees the hive must be destroyed." In the colony defense room, Yelena saw the dots on the screen get closer. Fast. Then the signal stopped. She stared in silence. Elias is gone. But just then, his voice crackled through the radio. We made contact. They're not human. They're not even alive. They're machines, designed to kill everything. Don't open the gates. Don't trust anything. Then, the radio cut again. Later. That night, Yelena stood in the watchtower. Thunder rolled across the sky. She saw them, 12 black shapes in the distance, marching, not stopping, not speaking. Between them was something else, something huge. Caged, covered in chains. Even from far away, she felt its presence. It wasn't just power. It was evil. She turned to her second-in-command. Wake everyone! We fight tonight! The man hesitated. We can't win against them. Yelena narrowed her eyes. We're not trying to win. We're trying to survive long enough for what's already beneath this planet to wake up. Deep underground, in the cocoon chambers, something else stirred. Bigger than the queen. Older than the hive. It had been sleeping for eons. But now, with each step the machines took, it opened one eye, and it remembered hate. Beneath the earth, the stone walls trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling of the deep tunnels. A heartbeat echoed underground, slow, ancient, and rising. Inside a massive cocoon, hidden for thousands of years, something moved. A creature born from war, designed by an unknown hand, abandoned and forgotten. Until now. It remembered pain. It remembered fire. And most of all, it remembered betrayal. Its eyes opened, black as space, glowing from within. The Hive Queen was not the only horror buried here. At the colony, the defense lights flickered. The 12 machines, council erasers, stood at the edge of the shield. They didn't fire. They just waited. Behind them, the giant cage began to open. Yelena stared through binoculars. They're unleashing something, not machines this time, something alive. A deep roar shook the mountains. Children screamed. Fighters gripped their rifles tighter. One whispered, "That didn't sound like anything from this galaxy." In the medical bay, Elias woke up with burns across his arms. Hana sat beside him, wrapping a bandage. "You made it back," he coughed. "Not for long. They're here, the machines. They brought a pet, or a god. I don't know anymore." He tried to sit up. "You have to go underground. It's not safe above." Hana shook her head. "We're already too deep in this." Then the ground shook again. But this time, it wasn't from the machines. It came from below, underground, deep beneath the hive. The ancient creature rose slowly. Bones cracked, flesh repaired itself. Limbs stretched wider than any ship. It walked on 6 legs. It had no face, only a mouth that split open in every direction. It was not created by humans, not even by the council. It was from a time before the stars were born. And now, it remembered why it hated everything that lived. It was not a monster. It was a warning, left behind by something even worse. At the surface, the council machines paused. The tall eraser leader turned its head slightly. Then it spoke. "The signal has returned. Phase 3 aborted. Target priority has changed." One of the other machines responded, "What signal?" "Original subject has awakened." They stopped moving. Some began to fall back. That's when Yelena realized. They were afraid. In the tunnels, Hana ran down into the hive chambers with a few scouts. She carried a small device pulsing red, an ancient council beacon they had recovered months ago. She thought it could stop the machines. Control them, maybe. But something else heard the beacon. The ancient creature turned its head. It saw her. She froze. The others dropped their weapons. It didn't attack. Instead, it spoke, but not with sound. It entered their minds. A deep, dark voice filled their thoughts. You brought them here. You woke me. Now, watch. Above ground, the cage behind the machines finally opened. Out stepped a massive beast, twice the size of a tank. Covered in black armor, breathing poison gas, its eyes burning yellow. The machines began to follow it toward the colony, but then the earth exploded behind them. The Ancient One rose from the mountains like a black wave of teeth and tendrils. It roared again, louder than the sky. Birds fell dead from the air, and for the first time, the machines ran. At the colony, Elias watched through a broken scanner. What is that thing? Yelena whispered. That's not our enemy anymore. That thing just saved us. No, Elias said slowly. It didn't save us. It just doesn't like to share its food. In-orbit Council Command picked up strange energy spikes. Unknown life form, unknown energy source, unknown threat level. Then they saw it. On the screens, the beast rising, the erasers retreating, the machines crushed like toys. An admiral whispered, "We didn't exile humans to a prison. We dropped them into a god's grave." Back on the planet, the colony stood silent. The machines were gone. The monster had disappeared into the shadows again, but it was awake now, watching, waiting. Elias looked at the burned horizon. Something worse is coming. Something even the Council fears. Yelena nodded. Then we better finish preparing. Preparing for what? Hana asked. Yelena looked up at the sky. For the real enemy, she said. Because now, it knows we're here. Night returned to the colony. But no one slept. People repaired broken walls with shaking hands. Fighters guarded the gates with silent fear. Every eye kept glancing toward the mountains, afraid the monster might return. But it didn't. For now, in the council war room far away in council space, a secret meeting was taking place. Holograms of high commanders flickered in the room, each from a different species. A female Valari admiral slammed her metal claw on the table. "We warned you not to open that sector," a cold voice replied. It was the head of the Eraser Project, a tall, golden being with 6 glowing eyes. The humans were not the threat. We miscalculated. Another voice spoke from the shadows. Then what was that creature? The golden figure paused, then said slowly, "A signal has been sent from that planet. We've seen it only once before, during the extinction of the red moons, when even we had to run." The room went quiet. Then someone whispered, "Is it awake again?" At the colony, Yelena stood on the roof of the command tower watching the sky. It was clear tonight. Stars sparkled like dust, but one star, just one, was blinking unnaturally. She tapped her comm. "Hana, are you seeing this?" Hana ran to the telescope scanner and zoomed in. Her face went pale. "That's not a star, it's a beacon. Someone's calling us." "Who?" Yelena asked. "I don't know, but it's not from the council." In the tunnels, Elias stood in the ruins of the old hive, staring at a strange wall. It looked like metal, but it hummed like it was alive. He touched it. The wall opened. Inside was a smooth room, completely untouched by time. In the center stood a black chair shaped like a spider, and in front of the chair floated a sphere of light. It pulsed in rhythm, like a heartbeat. Suddenly it spoke. "You are not one of them, but you carry the memory. Sit." Elias didn't know why, but he sat. The light moved closer, then faster, then entered his mind. Flash memory, he saw a battle, far away in time. Ships exploding, creatures with no faces screaming across. Stars. The galaxy burning, and in the center of it all, a race that should not have existed. Not the Council. Not humans, something older, and they left behind the signal, a code, a trap, a call for war. Back in the colony, Elias woke up coughing with blood dripping from his nose. Hana ran to him. "What happened?" He looked at her, eyes wide. "It wasn't a monster. That thing, it's a survivor, one of the last." "Of what?" "Of a war that erased an entire galaxy. The message that night, they decoded the blinking light from the sky. The message was short. You are not alone. We saw the signal. Prepare." Yelena stared at the screen. "Who sent this?" Hana pointed to the coordinates. "Not Council space." "Then where?" Elias answered. "From beyond the edge of the galaxy." In Council space, panic spread quietly among the elites. The erasers had failed. The monster was awake. Now, even worse, outsiders had seen it. Unknown factions. Civilizations beyond mapped space. A decision was made. Destroy the planet. Use the Star Core weapon. Nothing must escape. Back on the planet, the skies turned red. An object appeared in orbit, so large it blocked the sun for minutes. A Star Core warhead. Hana screamed. "They're going to erase us!" Yelena grabbed a mic. "Everyone underground, now!" But Elias didn't run. He stared at the mountain where the ancient creature had vanished. He whispered into his comm, "If you can hear me, this is your planet too." "Help us!" Seconds before impact, the warhead charged. The colony siren screamed. Then, boom! But it wasn't the colony that exploded. It was the warhead. Something had torn it apart in orbit before it could fire. Radar showed nothing, but the ground shook. Everyone looked up. The sky was filled with shadows. They had come, hundreds of ships, black, quiet, and massive, appeared above the planet. Not council ships, not human, the same design as the ancient ruins underground. One ship opened. A tall, thin being with silver skin floated down, surrounded by light. It didn't speak out loud. It simply looked around. Then, it said in every mind, "We heard the signal. We have returned. And now, the reckoning begins." The sky over the colony was filled with ships, dark, silent, and powerful. The beings from the ancient ruins had returned. They didn't come to conquer. They came for war. Inside the command tower, Yelena stared at the floating figure, tall, silver-skinned, glowing with quiet energy. Its presence felt heavy, like gravity was stronger near it. "Why are you here?" she asked. The being answered in her mind. "You woke the ancient signal. The galaxy responded with fear. We respond with judgment." Elias stepped forward, still weak from his vision days ago. "Judgment? Of who?" The being turned, slowly. "Of the Council, of the erasers, of those who feared the past and tried to bury it. Council space, emergency broadcast, across the galaxy, emergency signals spread fast. Unknown vessels have entered dead sectors. Star Core warhead destroyed. Multiple civilizations responding with panic. The Council's secret was no longer secret. Their plan to exile humanity had backfired. Now the ghosts of the past were alive, and they were angry. Back on the planet, the leader of the alien fleet, called Orshal, walked with Yelena and Elias. Through the colony, every colonist stared as the silver figure passed. No one stopped him. He moved like a shadow, no fear, no noise. Orshal spoke again. "You are children of ruin, left to die, but you survived. That makes you important." "Important how?" Elias asked. "This planet changed you. It made you something new. We see that now." Underground Lab Hana showed Orshal the recordings, the monster's attack, the energy it used, the way it healed. Orshal nodded slowly. "It was one of us, left behind in sleep. designed to guard this place in case we ever needed it again. Then why did it attack? Hana asked. Orshal answered coldly. It sensed what was coming. You were bait, and it prepared to defend the signal at all costs. In orbit, the Council sent another fleet. Thousands of ships, weapons ready. Fear controlled them now, not logic. They wanted to erase the colony once and for all, but they didn't expect what came next. The reckoning begins as the Council fleet arrived. The sky above the planet changed. The ancient ships lit up, symbols glowing across their hulls. Beams of silent energy linked them together like a web. Suddenly, boom! Half the Council ships vanished in one blink. No explosions, no debris, just gone. The rest tried to escape, but time itself bent around them. They moved like they were trapped, in slow motion. Then the voice of Orshal echoed across every channel. You erased worlds. You built machines to forget history. Now history remembers you. You feared the humans would awaken the old powers. You were right. Inside, the colony people watched the sky turn gold and black. The enemy fleet burned like dry leaves in a storm. Some were scared, others smiled. For the first time, the exiled humans felt like they weren't alone. And more than that, they were part of something bigger. Elias's vision comes true. Elias walked into the ruined hive again. The sphere of light still hovered. It spoke. The reckoning has started. But it will not end here. Where will it go? He asked. Where it always does, to the source. The Council? No, deeper. The sphere floated upward and merged with Orshal. Orshal turned to Elias. You will lead them. You are the bridge between old and new. Elias shook his head. I'm no leader. Orshal replied, You are human. That is enough.